Hey man, so as I said, man, we watching five people who claim to be time travelers, man. This type of stuff I just watch just for myself. Just cause you know what I'm saying? If time travel really ever will be invented, then somebody has to be traveling to right now, you feel me? Like if it really ever is to be invented, then somebody has to be traveling to this time period right now. So to me, I don't know. It might be true, it might not be, but we finna see. We might get through like two or three of these. We probably not gonna get through all five cause the video.
We had a look at apparent time travelers over 2 years ago on this channel, and since then, I have been asked numerous times to revisit the topic. Up until now, however, I haven't had a. Number 1. In the 1920s, a Swiss teacher named Paul Dienach went into a coma for a year. When he woke up, he began writing diary entries but didn't tell anybody what they were about. That is until he contacted one of his students so that they could translate it. It was revealed that Paul's diary entries weren't normal at all. Instead, they were detailed accounts of a fascinating story. He claims that during his coma, he awoke in the year 3906 AD as a man named Andrew.
I already don't believe it. Bro, he's sitting here in front of us. You not finna tell me, bro, that shit.
A famous physician who had also just woken up from a coma. Paul claims that their bodies must have switched somehow during both of their accidents, and also makes some interesting predictions about the future. He claims that Earth will colonize Mars in around 200 years, but a natural disaster will occur that will wipe out the 20 million people living on the planet. He also states that a global war will occur 100 years later, and that it will be devastating to the planet.
What? What? He just said everyone will die. What? Come on, bro. And then he said it years later. What?
People living on the planet. He
Hold on.
will colonize Mars in around 200 switch somehow during both of their accidents, and also make some interesting predictions about the future. He claims that Earth will colonize Mars in around 200 years, but a natural disaster will occur that will wipe out the 20 million people living on the planet. He also states that a global war will occur 100 years later, and that it will be devastating to the planet.
So maybe there's people on Mars and Earth at that time. I don't know. That kind of threw me right there.
But will eventually end in a union. This global union will lead to a huge improvement on the planet, and the quality of people's lives will increase drastically. These journal entries were surprisingly detailed, and it felt like Paul genuinely believed what he was writing. But what's more surprising than that is that he never wanted anybody to read them. It was only after he gave them to his student that the journals were released, and Paul's story was discovered. If it wasn't for that, he more than likely would have kept it to himself. It's obviously hard to believe that this actually happened, and that Paul spent a period of time 2,000 years in the future, but it is actually believable that he thought this happened. Obviously, we don't know for sure, but if his
That's
predictions come true, that will be a good sign that he was telling the truth.
I don't believe it. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm gonna be all the way honest.
Number 2. In 2003, a computer programmer living in Iowa, known as Dave Hill, got a number of interesting emails. The messages were marked as spam, but they weren't your traditional junk emails. Instead, they were emails from a man named Bob White, offering $5,000 to whoever could get a number of bizarre items, including an AMD dimensional warp generator and a time transducing capacitor. Hill was obviously intrigued and responded to this email stating that he could get what White needed. He photoshopped an online store and even sent White a box containing an old motor that he stated was the warp generator. Hill wanted White to come clean and say that this was a joke, but he never did. Instead, he thanked him for sending him the parts and asked him to help him with obtaining more items.
If he ain't give him the 5,000, then it was fake. If he ain't get the money for it, it was a lie, bro.
Decided to stop his charade when he realized how serious this man was being about his mission, and after these emails spread a little bit and gained some popularity, the man was identified as Robert J. Tadino, a man who was in his young 20s who truly wanted to travel through time. It's hard to tell if Tadino believed he was a time traveler or if he simply wanted to do it, because some of the emails.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I believe he probably wanted to, but nah, actually, I don't know. I don't believe it. If he ain't paid the dude the $5,000 and he gave him everything he wanted, how You just got scammed, bro.
conflicting, with some of them saying that they are a time traveler from 2003 and others simply saying that they want to travel through time. Either way, Tadino claimed that he sent over 100 million messages, so it's probably both. He claimed that he was 100% serious and that his mental state was completely perfect, and at times that was easy to believe because he seemed quite rational, but it was later revealed that he had been diagnosed with a number of mental illnesses. It's difficult to tell how many emails were actually sent by Tadino and how many others were sent by random people who are also claiming to be time travelers, but this remains as one of the most interesting spam email stories of the last few decades. Number 3. In 2002, a French Catholic priest and writer known as Father
I ain't gonna lie, this is probably the last one this week. I thought it was gonna be more interesting, bro. I thought it was gonna be something like, I don't know, where they actually, it might be convincing, but these ain't, nah, bro.
Francois Brune wrote a book called The Vatican's New Mystery. In the book, Brune wrote about an Italian priest and scientist named Pellegrino Ernetti, who apparently built a machine with a team of scientists known as the chronovisor. This machine was allegedly able to pick up the radioactive frequencies of past events and essentially recreate them in real time, meaning the viewer could watch these events unfold as they were happening.
Wait,
Ernetti
what?
himself create them in real time. This machine was allegedly Brune wrote about an Italian priest and scientist named Pellegrino Ernetti, who apparently built a machine with a team of scientists known as the chronovisor. This machine was allegedly able to pick up the radioactive frequencies of past events and essentially recreate them in real time, meaning the viewer could watch these events unfold as they were happening. Ernetti himself has stated that he used this machine to view certain historic events, including a performance of a lost piece of work in Rome in 169 BC, and even the crucifixion of Christ himself. He even stated that he photographed Jesus, and that photo was apparently leaked in 1972. This claim has been doubted, however, because it heavily resembles a sculpture created around the same time.
Bro, that didn't even look like a picture, bro. That looked drawn. Imagine the look on everybody's face. How you get a picture, bro? Imagine the look on everybody's face. All these people got Jesus hung up on the cross, and then they just see somebody come out with this contraption. They already hanging this man because they think he weird. You think you, boy, you would have been torn limb from limb.
However, because it heavily resembles a sculpture created around the same time. While Brune and Ernetti's story is definitely interesting, a lot of people believe it's either fabricated or exaggerated. However, others believe that it's not only real, but that the machine is still being used by the Vatican today. The Vatican has been known for their numerous secrets, so certain theorists believe that they are using this device to gain more power in the world. Number 4.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. We not doing number 4. I'll catch y'all on the next one, man. Peace.